I talk, you listen. Welcome to my one-man panel of madness. This is Dr. Geohu, and thank you for coming back to listen to some more of my ramblings. And today, it's all about my predictions for the series finale of Doctor Who Series 12. All right, so based on everything that we've seen so far in the last episode, I want to say that, and due to the name of the last episode, episode 10, being The Timeless Children, it's no longer just about the Doctor. Now, the way I see it, and I could be wrong, is that Brandon is also, quite possibly, a Time Lord. And that he, in reality, is also Koshamus. Right? And he's been guiding all these people to, I want to say to Gallifrey, because even though he says, I've never seen it look like that before, I'm not sure if he's referring to Gallifrey, like maybe the last time it opened, it actually did go to Gallifrey. Many, possibly millions of years before the foundation of Gallifrey and the Time Lords becoming who they are, due to the history that we know about them being exposed to the time vortex. And this goes all the way back to the 11th Doctor, and River Song, and how the River Song developed because she was essentially made, I guess that's a good way to put it, made in the TARDIS. Thank you, Rory and Amy. And that she's a child of the TARDIS. And that the reason for the Time Lords having this whole, longevity and so forth evolved through their exposure, through all this, it could easily be said that everybody that's actually leaving this part of the universe and going to another universe could be that they're not just going through a barrier to go to another place in the universe, but another place in time. So, all the people that are trying to get away from the Cybermen and the Cyber Wars are actually all going to Gallifrey before it was Gallifrey. In other words, it's going to become Gallifrey. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that one. That's one of my predictions that's a bit flaky, but I definitely want to think that Koshamus is definitely a Time Lord. And he's also Brendan, and he's actually lived this long. Now, you're wondering, why didn't he regenerate when he had the bullet and fell onto the ground, onto the beach? Well, it could be that Time Lords, when they are born, especially when they're children, they don't necessarily regenerate into another form. Now you're saying, but wait a second, River Song, when she was a little girl, regenerated from just having the flu or the cold. True. But since we're going back here, we're kind of re-envisioning, I guess, Time Lord history, it could be that he just simply woke up and healed because he hadn't hit a certain age. I'm not sure. Again, that's one of those theories that I'm kind of flaky on. But again, these are my predictions. I'm not sure if they're going to be happening or not. But my next prediction, and everything we've seen so far in this series, is leading up to the idea or the rumor that the Doctor actually belongs to a previous lineage or previous lineage of female Doctors prior to the first Doctor as we know him. And now that she's a female, or in female form, she's starting to beginning to see that, oh, wait, something's going on, which would explain why the TARDIS kicked her out, because the TARDIS is like, no, you can't go back to that kind of regeneration. It has to be, you have to stay male, because if not, you're going to remember. So, okay, so go with me here. So the Doctor now is finding out that there was a previous line of Doctors that were female, and the Doctor always had the TARDIS, and the TARDIS was taken from her, and actually the TARDIS was always a police box. For whatever reason, since she has been to Earth, and Ruth hid on Earth, you could say that the TARDIS was always like that, in the shape of a police box. But when the first Doctor, as we know him, took over the TARDIS, it was sort of reset, right? And somehow their first adventure together with Susan was on Earth in the 60s. Again, this connection to Earth. That's where the TARDIS becomes the TARDIS again, looking like a police box. And if you watch the second episode of the original story of the Cavemen, the Doctor, as played by William Hartnell, looks at the TARDIS and it hasn't changed. And he actually doesn't say, "Ooh," well, he just kind of says, "Ooh, that's weird. That's strange. I wonder why it didn't change." So this whole idea that the chameleon circuit was broken is totally BS. We know that the TARDIS and even the Doctor likes the TARDIS in that shape. So okay, so we've gotten that. I think that's where we're going, and I also think that the Doctor must have done something completely bad, and because she did something so bad, she was forced to regenerate, sort of like the second Doctor, into a male form of doctors, and completely mind wiped, right? So she couldn't remember any of this, but now she's coming back, and she's realizing, okay, this is the reality, is that I was a female prior to my first regeneration as a male. And I think that the first episode is actually going to start with us looking back at why and what happened. Because if you look at the trailer, the last trailer they did for episode 10, there's a picture, or there's a quick shot of that woman, or it looks like her, but it just looks like her, so it has to be her. And these other two gentlemen, and they're talking about something we don't know. The next shot is essentially a Time Lord, or looks like a Time Lord, in his white sort of robes. And so I have a feeling that we're going to start the first half or the first part of the episode back in time. And we're going to see what happened. My next prediction is hopefully Ruth is going to come to the rescue. Because Ruth is out there now. Remember, she didn't just disappear. She told the Doctor, "Get out of my TARDIS," but she didn't leave. So she's somewhere in time and space. Did she go back to or maybe she comes and goes back in time or something? I don't know, but I have a feeling that Ruth may appear. Again, these are my predictions, but I think Ruth is going to appear, and she's going to appear in a very important moment, making it a multi-Doctor story. I don't know what the Master's done. I know that Sacha Dhawan came out saying that he's a bit nervous about what fans are going to think of him as the Master after we see the episode. But the Master's always been crazy, even like Missy says, bananas. So I don't think we're going to fault him on anything. But I'm curious to see what that could be. And I really can't come up with a prediction for that because I'm stumped on that one. I don't know what he could possibly do to the Doctor. Besides telling her the truth. And I think the truth is going to hurt the Doctor. I think it's a truth that's really bad. I have a feeling that the Doctor is actually a prisoner. And there was a photo that was released earlier today that showed her in some kind of like almost a jail cell. And so I have a feeling that we're looking at a bit of a trial of the Time Lords moment where the Doctor might actually be brought back to face crimes that she has committed. And other than that, that's pretty much my prediction. I think it's going to end on a somewhat theatrical note, meaning I believe we are definitely going to lose one companion, if not all of them. And it would be amazing. It would be a shock if they actually didn't kill someone off. I just have a feeling that it looks like we're heading towards someone's demise or possibly some kind of major shakeup. And I don't think that John Barrowman, Captain Jack, is going to be in this episode. However, I have a prediction that we're going to have a Christmas special because there's no way that we're only getting 10 episodes this series. They said the same thing about last season, and we actually got 11. 11 being the New Year special we had last New Year's. Now, this year we did not get a special. Okay, the first episode to me does not count as a special. That's cheap and bogus. So I think they're going to make it up by giving us a Christmas special this 2020. Okay, so I'm actually going to watch the episode, and I'm going to keep track of all these predictions, and I'm going to see if I'm right. But I have a feeling that Jack is going to come back in that Christmas special because the Doctor is going to be without a companion. No companions. and they're going to have some kind of I told you so. You should not, didn't they tell you should not have given it? So somehow I think that Christmas and this last episode are going to tie in, and it's going to be a Jack and Doctor story. And then I think for the next series, we're going to see the Doctor just a little bit more, maybe sad, maybe a little different, because of the deaths of her previous companions, giving it a whole new sort of story outlook, and possibly dealing with the fact that now she knows that she was a time she was a had a previous incarnation of female doctors, and maybe groping with the fact that she did some pretty effed up stuff. I think that it's going to be so bad that it's going to drive her like mad and crazy, and realize, whoa, and it goes back to kind of what the 12th Doctor, he asked Clara, hey, am I a good man? Right? Am I a good person? Even though he says, I'm not a good person, I'm not a good man, I'm just, an idiot with a blue box, a screwdriver, passing through, helping out. It could be that that question is still there now, like, whoa, I just did this. I know I did all this to Gallifrey, and now, here I am. So that's what I have. Those are my predictions. We will see if they will come true. In just a few days, we will have the series finale of Doctor Who Series 12. And I at least hope that we are going to get some answers, because I will be so pissed. I may just storm the offices of the BBC and demand answers. Maybe not, but hey, whatever. All right, let's see if I'm right. So make sure to check back and see if I'm right.